You see, like right here, the shaft actually moves back and forth in the engine, and that's what shifts your engine. Well, what's happening is when that's moving, see how that comes out, and now that shifter is completely out. Does it do anything?
Yeah.
Barely catching though, right?
Yeah.
See, like, looks like shit, right? How it's all rounded on the where the snap ring goes on there. So that's what lets this. That snap ring is all that holds this in the engine. All right, guys, how's it going? Thanks for clicking on the video. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow our other videos. Right now, for this video, we're doing a little LTR upgrade, getting our rides all ready for nice weather coming soon. Previously, like Little Sahara last year, a couple other trips, I've had a problem with my shifter. So I'm doing this is an 06, I'm doing the 08-09 shifter upgrade. So it's basically like all the shifter components inside the shift shaft, the drum, the holder, retainer, all that stuff. So I bought all the stuff, all brand new Suzuki parts, and we're gonna get this accomplished today. And I'm hoping this solves my problem I'm having. But we're gonna run it this year. If not, then the engine's gonna come back apart next winter, and we'll do more upgrades. But for now, let's get going on it. All right, so I got a head start already. I've already taken off my coolant line here. I've drained the coolant. I've taken my oil filter out. I'm doing an oil change on this right now anyway, so the oil's out, the oil's drained. I had to take off my rear brake light switch here. I had to take the brake pedal off. Disconnected. I've got my lower oil line disconnected, which I actually broke a bolt off in here, so that's another thing that we're going to have to fix. I will still have to take my actual shifter off this side. So the shifter will come off because the shaft has to pull back through the engine. I still got my oil drain bolt sitting here. My tank bolt is in loose. So that's about everything I've done ahead. Obviously, I took my exhaust off. I took the exhaust off because this cover is hard to get off because the exhaust is so tight against it. And I actually have some wear right here where the exhaust is rubbed on the case and the bolt. So when I put this all back together, I'm going to try to get that moved up a little bit to where we got a little bit more clearance. But for now, I'm just going to start taking out all of my side cover bolts and see if I can get this thing off here. So let's get going here. We got the cover off, that was easy. So I'm just looking at, like, while it's off, making sure like my water pump gear is all good, no funny shit going on with that. Just kind of giving it a good look over. I ripped the gasket, we got a new gasket, that's fine. I am gonna get this gasket out of here. The next thing I got to do is I got to take the whole clutch basket off to get down in behind it. So pull these bolts out, pull the plates out, and we'll go from there. So that's next. All right, so we just got the clutch plates taken off. I just broke loose the nut that holds the basket and everything on. This is my homemade clutch holding tool, just an old clutch disc, a couple holes in it and bolted on. Boom. Works perfect. We use it all the time. Take all this crap off here. Make sure you don't lose that. I should be able to take the basket off. We'll leave that spacer on. We're good to go. So everything we're going to be working on is right down here. So good chance to check out the oil pump gear here. Looks good. We're gonna swap all this stuff here out. So, ooh, look at that too. See that? Mm-hmm. That's loose. This might be a good chance for me to go ahead and buy the one piece too. The newer model.
Yep.
Whew. All right, so the next thing to do is just start disassembling all the shift parts right here. And here, let me get them all out and I'll lay them out and I'll show you guys what all it is to replace before I actually start pulling stuff apart. So we've got everything opened up here. So if you guys just look at this, this should be all the parts I hope to do this upgrade. One thing I'm going to show you, this is the new shaft, but this ring right here, there's a snap ring that goes on there, and this is what holds that into the engine, right? Well, mine's been worn out for a while, so when I shift, it doesn't shift, it doesn't do anything, it just, the shifter flops around. Well, if you come around here and look, I loosened up my shifter and took the bolt out already. So I haven't disassembled anything as far as what holds this all together, but a problem I have is the groove on the back side of your shifter that snaps it in and holds it in the engine, it's worn out and it pushes the snap ring off. And so if you look at this, Christy, get up here, like this whole thing, see how that moves in and out? Mm-hmm. It's pointing down here where it actually connects. Look. You see, like right here, the shaft actually moves back and forth in the engine, and what that does, just to show you, if you come around here and look what that's moving, get down here, let me grab a light. So if you get down here and look, right here, these teeth have to mesh, and that's what shifts your engine. Well, what's happening is, when that's moving, see how that comes out? And now that shifter is completely out of those teeth. And if I leave this here, Christy, to show what it looks like when I'm actually hitting the shifter.
Okay.
Does it do anything?
Yeah.
Barely catching though, right?
Yep.
See, like, looks like shit, right?
Yeah.
So, what I'm thinking is, I talked to some of you guys that follow the channel, and I told everybody, like, I don't drag race that much. I have problems with my shifter. It jams in gear. There's a hard time getting it back out. And you know when you're drag racing, you're just fucking jamming gears. So, I kind of baby it every time I ride, knowing I have this problem. And I wasn't sure if it was the shift drum inside the engine, the shift forks, all this right here. I think this is the problem. So we're going to fix this first, and just seeing it and seeing the problems I have, I'm pretty sure that this is all it is. I mean, I've had my engine part, when I put it all together, everything inside transmission wise, it looked good. I hate to say that because I'm probably going to have a problem now, but I inspected everything. It looked good. And then I've had this problem. I've been replacing that C-clip on the shift shaft for a while, and it keeps just working back out of that groove, and then it moves around again. So instead of just carrying C-clips with me everywhere and doing that, we're going to do this whole new setup. And that shift shaft, I mean, I bought this in 06, and that thing has never been changed, and it's had a lot of riding on it. So a couple little upgrades to keep it in good shape, and I think we'll be all right. So another thing, one of my dyno runs, you know, out at JSR, we were having problems and the shifter was real sloppy. Well, my bolts had walked out here, so I've had this apart before, but my bolts walked out to where the shift shaft wasn't real tight. It just makes it hard to shift. So I've had this apart a few times, just consistently having problems with this setup. So we're going to go over it, we're going to clean it all really well. We're going to Loctite everything back together, you know, and hopefully all of our problems are solved. If not, then we're going to go back into this at some point. But for now, let's start taking all this apart. So basically everything we have here, we got the shaft. You got your roller that locks into this here, and this is what holds it in gear. You know, this is the piece right here that this drives when you shift up and down. This is supposed to make it a lot more positive engagement at being a smaller wheel, and we'll set the parts aside before we start reassembling this so you can see the difference. But I mean, all this information's online. I know, I'm pretty sure this is in the file section of the LTR sites, you know. But if you're watching this video and you want to see the difference, I'm going to show you. So let's start taking this apart and stop bullshitting so much. So let's go. So guys, we've taken off, all we've taken off is the old shift shaft. Went ahead and popped my oil pump drive gear off. I just took the bolts out of this retainer here. There's that. Pop this crap out. And I'm trying to be careful with the little retainers so they don't spring across the garage. I know you can't see much right now. There we go, we got it. So these little buggers here, see how that goes on? These little fingers right here are real easy to lose. Let's take this stuff, we'll set it over here. So there's that, and now we have to get the actual roller out, which is right here, which seems jammed up. When we were shifting, it wasn't returning, so it feels like it's locked up in there. I'm gonna grab some pliers to get a hold of that. Whew. I just want to see. Man, it's in there good, but it's like it's not in a gear. I don't know. We need to get this out first, though. So I believe that's a deep 12. Let's see if we can get that sucker pop loose. There we go. Let's set this over here. So now this drum should come out. Yeah. So shift drum's out. That takes the pressure off of our holder. There's our spring. And I gotta take that off. Should be a 10, I think. Get this sucker off here. There we go. So that should be, there's some Loctite buildup there. That should be the last piece that we're actually replacing. So if you look here, let me check this GoPro. All right, so one of the biggest difference here, I'll show you this, if you're recording, Christy. Mm-hmm. So the biggest reasons I'm doing this is this right here. This one is an 06 shift drum. This is the 07-08 shift drum. This is the 06 retainer. This is the later model retainer. So the smaller wheel locks in here, and then it rolls over this when you shift, and it's supposed to snap in a little bit deeper and feel like a better click and engagement compared to the 06 model. A bigger wheel obviously rolls over a little easier. And when you look at this, this is interesting because I didn't know this either. But when I'm looking at this right now, you can actually see the wear on the shift drum. You see where it's worn off there?
Kind of.
It might be hard to see on camera, but you can see the step there where I've actually worn over the corners of it. If you look at the new one here, you'll see the machine work is solid. There's no steps in it. So that was a problem too. Okay, so that's one issue. The other issue, like I explained before we got this out, this is the new shift shaft. See how nice and like crispy the corners look here? Here's my old one. If you look at it, how it's all rounded on the where the snap ring goes on there. So that's what lets this, that snap ring is all that holds this in the engine. So if your snap ring can sneak over that edge, then this starts shifting back and forth in there. So those couple things together, then no good. So this is actually really good that we found all this stuff, because it really leads me to believe that we figured out the problem here. So next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take this spring off. I'm going to put it on this new shaft. I'm going to clean up the engine, spray it down and everything. And we want it nice and clean and oil free for some new Loctite. So we're just going to prep stuff up, get it ready to start reassembly. And other than that, that's basically all of it. So we'll prep some stuff and we'll come back and bring you guys back. I went ahead and transferred some stuff over. I got the new spring on the new, or the old spring on the new shaft. I put my my lock pins into the new star here. I went ahead and transferred my shift shaft pin over to my old relocator. I'm just going to Loctite everything. I've cleaned the engine up. I lit it on fire. Christy wasn't recording, but I cleaned out all the holes with the brake cleaner. Should be good to Loctite, and we're going to start reassembling. So first thing I think we want to get on here is the retainer, and I'm red Loctite and everything too. So we'll get this started. The spring can go on after. This just sits right down here. And if you're doing this, one thing to take note of, this shaft fits over a shoulder, and if you tighten it down without that on the shoulder, this won't move. So make sure that that's on that shoulder all the way. Okay, we'll swap to a deep well. So let's get this going in here. So I just kind of wiggle it around while I'm doing this. See right there, I'm on the shoulder. So right there I'm snug and I'm still moving freely. So that's what we're looking for. So now I just I'm gonna give it a strong snug. Most of this stuff, it's aluminum. It's like about only like 8 to 12 foot-pounds on everything. So a strong snug. Now I can put my spring on here. That should go up and locate. And then that will hook under there. Like that. So then that lets you do is that lets you bring this down and hold it when I go to put my next drum on here. And so that locates. That's this piece here. So let's get some Loctite. I put a pretty decent amount of Loctite on here. And so this, what I do is you get this down here. Let's set this down. Hold this down. And if you put a screwdriver in like that, then you can hold that spring pressure down. Get this started. And then once it's started, I'll get it over that little locator. Right there. Slipped on the locator. I'm going to grab my little impact right here, just to drive it in. So that just took up the slack. Now I can let this go. And we're latched. Now I'm just going to give it a couple, just like that. That's all I want. And that's on. So now that that is on, I believe we're good to go ahead and put in the lock here. Just squeeze these little pins together, slip it on like that. And you'll see when you shift, that latches into gear. Just like so. So I think I got to put my little standoff on next. It should go. This does not go on yet. This came off later, didn't it? Or I think this has to go on next. Which can be kind of a pain in the ass. And then I might have to pull this out. This is kind of a pain to get on here sometimes. Pop that in, kind of hold it, and then getting this back on here. Damn it. Like that. Except that has to move. Kind of clumsy right now. There we go. That's gonna go on further.